So in today's news, Unity, the company behind one of the most popular game engines in the world, has introduced a new monetization system which they called Unity Runtime Fee. Starting from January 1st, 2024, Unity will start charging development companies for each installation of their games after a certain threshold. Now, these charges will be applicable to anyone who meets both revenue and install criteria. For Personal and Plus versions, it's $200,000 and 200,000 installations, and for Pro and Enterprise, it's $1 million each. And the royalty fee goes as high as 20 cents per install for Personal and Plus. For Pro and Enterprise, this fee goes lower the more installations the product has. So right from the get-go we can see that it looks like Unity is trying to push their customers to subscribe for a higher price tier. And mind you, the difference is quite substantial. Personal plan is free, while Pro will cost you over $2,000 a year per seat, and Enterprise is $5,000 a year per seat. And moreover, they've just removed Plus subscription plan completely at the same moment they've announced this runtime fee, which is absolutely amazing. And of course, it's done for one simple reason, and it's not to force people to move to Pro, but to simplify the number of plans we offer. Oh yeah, that's quite a convenient simplification for them, I guess. But going back to the runtime fee, for really big games this 1 cent per install will be a drop in the bucket, but I really couldn't care less about one giant company ripping off another giant company. I'm sure that Genshin Impact creators will not be happy about that, but with their profit it's really laughable to complain about that. The bigger problem is that this system will hurt indie developers in the first place. Now, small independent video game studios cannot realistically afford to create their own game engine, so the only solution is to use one of the big, available to anyone engines like Unreal Engine or, well, Unity. And speaking about Unreal Engine, I think they celebrate this turn of events as Unity just created the greatest marketing campaign for them and they didn't even have to do anything. So this announcement instantly caused an outrage across the community and raised many different questions. So let's go over them one by one. First question is, how are installs tracked? And the answer that Unity has provided on Twitter is as follows. We'll leverage our proprietary data model, so you can appreciate that we won't go into a lot of detail. But we believe it gives an accurate determination of the number of times the runtime is distributed for a given project. While it's expected for a company not to share their internal mechanisms, for a situation like this, it sounds like a no answer. Basically, developers will have to trust Unity on that. There is no transparency or the way to confirm that the data in the bill will be accurate. But it only gets worse from here. The whole idea to track the amount of installs is utterly insane simply because it doesn't have to correlate with revenue. What if one person installs an app, then deletes it and then installs it again? So Axios has reached to Unity representatives about that and received an explanation that if that happens, it's 2 installs and subsequently 2 charges. And if you want to install the game on different devices, it will count as numerous installs as well. Though several hours after that, Unity has changed their narrative and stated that runtime fee will count only initial installation, but for different devices it will still count as multiple installs and multiple charges. The obvious question left is, what about the situation if some malicious actor will start installing the game on multiple distinct virtual machines, for example? Unity's response on Twitter is as follows. We do already have fraud detection practices in our ads technology, which is solving a similar problem, so we will leverage that know-how as a starting point. This answer clearly means that they haven't thought about it and don't have a solution in case it happens to someone. Now, on the positive side, the changes will not apply to charity apps or bundles and won't affect demo versions unless the demo is part of a download that includes the full game, like Steam's early access situation. Another big question is related to subscription services like Game Pass. Unity has clarified that developers would not be on the hook as the fees are charged to distributors, which in the Game Pass example would be Microsoft. Though it's not clear if it was discussed with Xbox Steam or other similar subscription services at all. The worst part of it all is that while this change will not affect any installations prior to January 1st, 2024, it will still be applicable to any further installations, even for the games that were released prior to this date. So if the game is out, developers might just start losing money. Imagine if the mobile game uses a free-to-play distribution system with in-app purchases. It doesn't even have to be some pay-to-win shit, but just an option to remove ads or buy skin bundles like Among Us does, for example. And one thing that is important to understand is that not every company can afford switching engines halfway through the development cycle, and for completed games it would mean basically remaking them from the scratch, and not many indie companies can afford it. In some situations, the only solution might be to take the game down completely. It also seems like some group of developers are preparing a class action lawsuit against Unity amidst these changes. Of course, I am no law expert, so I can't comment on the legality of these changes, but it will definitely be interesting to see if this thing will move forward. So overall, this new monetization approach is completely insane, and there is a possibility that Unity will retract it soon after seeing the backlash from the community, but it's still crazy that some idea like this can even come to someone's mind. Anyway, that's all from me for this video. Please share your thoughts in the comments section and subscribe to the channel if you liked this video. And as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.